welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to this series. Today I am here with Itohan, and she will be sharing her experiences in tech, software engineering, and all of those spaces. So I'm really excited to have her on this call. Thank you so much for joining me on this call, Itohan. I'll let you introduce yourself, but what's your background? What interests, hobbies do you have?
Okay. Hi, Shalini. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here. So my name is Itohan. Let me talk about my engineering background. So I did my undergrad in electrical and electronic engineering in Nigeria. And then I worked for like a year there in IT, so like networking and cloud stuff. And then I did a master's in Cornell University. My master's was in electrical and computer engineering. Most of my time has been spent in like networking, cloud software, infrastructure software, so different but kind of related. Yeah, that's basically me. I spend most of my time writing code. When I'm not writing code, I watch a lot of shows. Right now, it's a bad thing. I'm telling myself I have to stop. So love trying out new things. So right now I'm taking a drawing class. I'm also trying to learn like yoga poses. Yeah, I really like trying out new things. That's basically me.
So I guess going more into your tech and engineering background, so how did you first get into technology and engineering?
So just a little bit about me. So I grew up in Nigeria, and I'm from basically a medical family. So my parents are medical doctors, and I have like 3 other siblings, and the first 2 are doctors. So my dad just thought all of us would be doctors. Like even when I was younger, when people ask him, he'll be like, she's a young doctor, she's a young doctor. But I really thought I was going to be a doctor, but as I grew up, like in high school, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that it was definitely something I did not want to do. I started thinking like, I knew I didn't want to be a doctor, so I started like considering other health-related fields. I thought about pharmacy, stuff like that. But it's funny, like one time I decided electrical and electronic engineering because we went on like an excursion to like a polytechnic in high school, and they just showed us like different things the students were working on. And it was just a very simple circuit. But I don't know, it just fascinated me. It just fascinated me. I think they just connected some wires together and the light came on. And just like, okay, this is what I want to do. So that's actually why I studied electrical electronic engineering. And when I started studying that, I was interested in telecommunication because I guess 2 other things that fascinated me growing up was like cell phones and internet. So I don't know how it was in the US, but like in Nigeria, I mean, I was probably in like, we call it primary school, I guess it's like elementary, but my parents used to like come to the US for vacation. And I remember one time my dad came back with a cell phone. And that was the first time I saw like an actual wireless phone. We just had like the landline. And I was just curious, like, wow, there's no wire. How does this work? How does this work? I actually spoiled his cell phone because I kept like messing with it. But yeah, so I was interested in telecommunication because that fascinated me. And then the internet too. I don't remember exactly when, but like at home we had like the family laptops, and we had like this, we would disconnect the landline and drag it to the laptop, to the family computer, and just connect it so that we would have access to the internet. And it used to excite me. So I really wanted to understand how all that worked, how you could just Google something and you just find answers. I think that really was that was my journey into tech. Like the excursion and all led me to engineering, but like deciding, okay, it was tech, it was telecommunication, networking. I think just those things that fascinated me. I just wondered how they work.
That's so cool. Like that was the spark, and like cell phones, and also just seeing how much like from that point in time to now, like how much things have changed with technology and cell phones. Like I think that's so cool, and you are a part of that too, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
What was your experience like in undergrad, studying engineering in Nigeria?
Oh yeah, so that I read electrical and electronic. It wasn't really focused, and I guess even then I wasn't sure what I needed. So there were just like in the first two, it's actually 5 years in Nigeria. And the first 2 years, you just take really general courses. So like chemical engineering courses, mechanical, just everything. And then the third year, you take like different classes in electrical and electronic engineering. So you don't really like know what you're interested in. You just do a lot. So I definitely enjoyed learning a lot of it, but it was more theoretical. So even at the end, I found it difficult to picture how I would apply it. I would say that being female, though, it was largely male dominated. So in the beginning, it's something that you notice, especially coming from high school. And I went to an all-girls high school. So in the beginning, it's something that you notice that like, oh, we were in a class of maybe over 100, there are like 10 females. So it's something that you notice, but luckily I never felt like I was disrespected or anything. And as you grow, the boys are just like one of you, so you don't really notice it anymore. The only thing is that because people think like, I after my first year, someone asked me, oh, how's engineering? I was like, it's good. And he looked at me like he was surprised. So there was definitely this feeling of, I need to beat your expectation. I need to do so much more because you're expecting me to fail. I need to beat your expectations. But aside that, I think it was pretty good. I just didn't get a lot of like practical experience.
So like, how was the transition from undergrad to grad school and like moving to Cornell in the US?
So after undergrad, I actually like spent a year working in like it's like an IT in an ISP company. So I learned a lot about like Linux and stuff like that. Before then, I didn't know any like Linux commands or anything. So moving to Cornell, for some of the classes, I already knew like, because of that year I spent working, I already knew like some Linux things. Well, and my program was 1 year, I really, really found it difficult. In undergrad, I was like one of the best students, but it was complete. I think the experience in my master's was humbling. It's like I would study so hard and see that I don't do well. It was really humbling. Like I just didn't know what was going on. So it was definitely difficult to adjust. There was the fact that I did not know why I wasn't doing well in some of the classes. My dad spent a lot of money, and I just felt, oh my God, my dad spent all this money and I'm just going to fail. What's going on? So it was difficult adjusting. So there was that with the program. I found it really, really intense. But I liked that it was not just about the theory and all. I think if it was just about the theory, I would have failed, because I would spend time with the assignments, and I'll do like group discussions with people and go to office hours, and I'll be able to pass. So with the assignments, I learned a lot, but then because I was doing it with other people, I also like found it easier. But it was nice. Like I remember one of the classes, I did operating systems, and I remember building like the back end for Dropbox. I remember building like a shell, like a terminal. So it was really nice, because even though we were learning it in class, I found myself doing projects that I had to do. So no matter how difficult they were, I had to do. So that was nice. Because I'm Black and I'm female, it's really different though, because in Nigeria, everyone is Black, but here I would see myself being like the only Black person, and it was really, really difficult to adjust to that. Growing up, I was someone that was very outspoken, and I always used to ask questions in class, and I found myself like thinking about it, like, oh yeah, you just stick out like a sore thumb, and then you have an accent. So it was definitely something that was difficult for me to adjust to.
You mentioned that right before grad school you worked, and then also after grad school you were working. So like what type of work are you doing as a software engineer and related to like cloud systems and all?
So right now, I switched jobs recently. I switched jobs in like April. So right now, I work as an infrastructure software engineer. And that is basically writing software that helps other engineers in the company. So, I don't know if you know what continuous deployment is, but it's basically a way for engineers to deploy their code and then have it be tested in different stages before it's ultimately deployed in production. So I write like software that makes it easier for the engineers to create pipelines that do that. Before now, I worked in cloud and open source. So it was just basically designing open source cloud software. So I worked on projects that leverage Kubernetes. That's really popular now. And I was developing something on Acreno. It's open source, so I can talk about it. Yeah, so, and then before that, I worked on network software. One of the projects I spent most of my time working on is called ONAP, Open Network Automation Platform. And it's just a way with the cloud, you have like virtual machines, you have containers, and it's a way that you are automatically able to deploy multiple virtual machines depending on your project. So if your project uses like 3 virtual machines, instead of going and creating like each virtual machine, you can have like a template where you can automatically deploy everything using ONAP.
How does your day-to-day job and role look like?
So most days, it starts with me having like stand up in the morning. We have my company currently has like one day, Thursdays, no meeting Thursdays. So on those days, we don't have meetings. But generally, like in the morning, I have like stand up. It's like 30 minutes. And it's basically to just say what you're working on, how far you've come, are you blocked, do you need help, and stuff like that. I spend basically the rest of the day just writing code. Currently, I code in Python. So we have like different stories on the board depending on the project you're working on. I mean, if you have questions, you can talk it out. Sometimes, depending on how complex it is, sometimes I have like a document that I create just to have my thought process, and then I run that by like other engineers, and if it's okay, then I start working on it. And depending on how it goes, after, when you feel like it's ready, you test. We have like, you add like unit tests to it, then I push to GitHub and someone reviews, and I think that's a constant cycle. But yeah, that's basically it.
So I guess, what's your favorite part about being a software engineer?
My favorite, I think I have different parts that I like. I like that I could just sit at my laptop and create. I don't have to do much. Like I could literally just type and create, and it's really nice to see. It's really nice to think about something, maybe write it on paper, have an idea, and just by writing lines of code, see it become something. So I really like that. I like that there are just so many things you can do. And I like that there is a community. Like there are just a lot of people interested in like various things. And having this one skill, you can use it for different things. So like right now I'm an infrastructure software engineer. I've been in network software. I mean, I think what I do is all related, but specifically, I've been a network software engineer, I've been a network research engineer, I've been a cloud software engineer, and now I'm an infrastructure software engineer. And it's the same coding language. Like, I mean, I've done Python and Go, but I haven't, like for this new job, I haven't really had to learn a new language. And if you know how to code, you can easily pick up another language. And if you're interested in something, even like something graphical, like web design, the knowledge is useful. So I like that it's very transferable, and I like that I can try to do multiple things at the same time.
In terms of technical skills, you use Python mainly, and then you have used Go in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess soft skills, like there's like networking and stuff, but what other skills do you use as a software engineer, whether it's technical skills or soft skills? And then like what resources would you recommend to learn more?
I think a lot is technical, and it really just depends on the type of software engineer you want to be. So I don't know if I can recommend a particular resource. I would say if you want to be a software engineer, just pick a language. I don't even really think there's a best language. I just think just pick a language, and when you know one, you would probably be able to pick up the other one. Yeah, so if someone just wants to be a software engineer, I'll definitely say pick a language. If you want to be like a cloud software engineer, then you have to know container technology, you have to know like Docker, you have to know like Kubernetes. Right now, I work on infrastructure software, and I use Spinnaker. It's like a continuous deployment software that was designed by Netflix. So it really just depends. But I think the most important thing is just knowing how to code for starters. So that's it for technical skill. I definitely think you need to be able to network, because the field is like, it's very, very vast, and it's ever changing. You just need to be able to talk to people, learn what people are doing, and that also helps you be more innovative. So if you want to maybe even start your own thing at some point, just talking to people, learning what people are thinking, learning like the kind of difficulties people are facing would help you. And definitely hearing people's stories, how they got to where they were, if they have any advice, that's something I would definitely recommend. So I think asking people more about their journey, especially people that are older, and then asking questions, I think that's really important.
That's really good advice. So I guess working in a tech company, being in a tech role, what has your experience been like as a woman in tech? And I guess also specifically like as a Black woman in tech too.
I think I'm really, really lucky because I read things, and I've never had a bad experience, even in Nigeria, where I mean Nigeria is not as like forward thinking as here, but even in Nigeria, I have never had a bad experience. I've seen people just support me and want me to be the best. No, I have never felt like I'm being treated a certain way because I'm a woman. So I'm definitely thankful for that. I've never felt like I'm being treated a certain way because I'm Black. Everywhere I've been, I've worked in 3 companies, it has just been people wanting me to do my job and people wanting me to succeed. So that's something I'm grateful for. The thing is just that you just notice that you're the only one. And I'm always the only something. Like I'm either the only woman, or I'm the only Black person, or I'm the only Black woman. It's something you get used to, or you never really get used to it because you stick out. You don't just always want to stick out because you're Black, or because so that's something I don't like. I don't like that I'm the only person that looks like me. But aside that, I've never really felt like discriminated against or anything. There have definitely been times where I felt like maybe I was talking and a guy spoke over me, or maybe just said something I just said that can be annoying. Although I haven't experienced it a lot, but it has happened. And what that has taught me is to just speak up more. Like, even if that means, but that's just what I said. Like, I just said that. I just learned to speak up more. But like I said, I've worked in good places. So even when people have done that to me, I've seen other guys say, oh, that's what Itohan said. So that's good. I think I've just been lucky to work in good environments. I don't really have a bad experience.
No, that's really, really great to hear. And I think that's a good lesson too, just to speak up more
Mm-hmm.
for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just try to just focus on doing your work and being the best. Like just do your work the best way. Like you're there to do your work. So for me, it's just like forget about the fact that you're the only one. I mean, definitely try to bring other people, encourage other people to join, but like don't focus too much or try to feel like you're being victimized when you're not. Just try your best to do work. Yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult when there's no one else that looks like you.
I mean, you mentioned that like you feel like you're the only person like in the room sometimes, or like only like woman or like black woman or black person in the room. Do you
Yeah.
have like any ideas on like how to like change that situation, or anything that, I don't know, companies, organizations can do for that?
Well, I think most of the companies that I have worked with, it hasn't felt like it feels more like there are just not enough people coming into the industry. It doesn't really feel like it's about the company. So, like the places I've worked, I've seen a lot of companies focus on diversity, focus on like having women. Like even my previous job, like if like having a woman, a female intern was like something to brag about. So like one time we had interns, like I think two of them or three of them were women, and that was like one of my manager's achievements for the internship then. So I think many times I think industries can, I mean, I think the companies can definitely do more, but I think a lot of it is like just encouraging like high school people, letting them know that it's something they can do. Maybe just going out and being more visible, letting people know that there are people that look like them. And if I can do it, you can definitely do it too. So for me, in my opinion, I think it's more about just younger people coming into the industry, like people knowing that they can like they can pursue STEM fields. Yeah. I would say what is a problem though is that in higher roles, so like maybe like principal engineers or fellows or stuff, you hardly see women. And you hardly like, and in the C levels, you hardly see women or you hardly see black women. And that's something, I mean, I don't know what I can do about that, but except maybe just work and talk more, talk more to people in those areas and try my best to reach that field so that other people can know that they can do that. But I'll say for me, I rarely see like women in those principal and in the higher roles. I hardly see women there. So that's something that's, I would say, kind of affects me, because sometimes it's difficult to imagine when you don't see other people like you in that field or in that role.
Yes, see, not having that like role model almost in
Mm-hmm.
those roles, it's like, is that even possible for me? Or
Exactly.
like for others like similar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And even like those people like making decisions and
Mm-hmm,
everything.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know, like diversity is like such an important factor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you can't know someone else's experience if you've never been through their experience.
Like, what advice would you give to younger people or people just starting off in tech, or maybe they aren't sure if they want to pursue tech and software engineering? Like, what advice would you give to them?
I guess the biggest thing I would say is you can do it, because there are definitely times where you feel like you cannot do it, so you can do it. Don't give up, and failing doesn't mean you cannot do it. Like many people in the industry fail so many times. And if you're in school, while you should try to study and pass, I believe that exams are not a true test of knowledge. So don't feel like because you didn't do well in this particular exam, it means that, okay, oh my gosh, this is definitely not for me. I think if it's something you're passionate about, you should definitely keep at it and just don't give up. And like I said, ask questions. Don't be scared to ask questions. Asking questions doesn't mean that you're dumb. and network with other people. Like the more you talk to people, the more you realize that you're not alone, and the things you're struggling with, someone else is struggling with them, or someone else has been through it, and you guys can just lift each other up.
Snaps. That was really great. The part about failing is so true. I feel like coding and software engineering is all about failing. Like you write a line of code and it will most probably not work the first time you gotta like debug it and everything. It's all about failing and then just learning from that experience.
Yeah, like have a tantrum, but come back to it when you're done. Like don't leave it. That's
I guess what goals do you have like for your YouTube channel and then also for your career in general?
My career, first of all, I want to be at the point where I feel like I know what I'm doing. Like I feel like I'm an expert. Like I want to know what I'm doing and know that I know what I'm doing. I want to be more known in the industry. So I want to give more talks and speeches, like give more presentations on things I'm working on. I want to be an innovator. So I mean, like the Kubernetes is really popular and it was someone that designed it. Like there are so many things, especially in the cloud, like even with Docker containers, like Linux containers were already, like they were a technology that had existed for years, but someone thought about Docker and Docker made it easier and everyone started using containers. So I want to do something that everyone uses and that like makes life easier for people in the industry. I want to have patents to my name still in the cloud industry. And I definitely want to inspire more people. I want to show people that you can look like me and you can get this far. Like it's just about like doing what you love, being hardworking. It's not about how you look or anything. I want to show people that they can do it. So that's definitely something I want to do too. Yeah, I guess I want to be more, I don't just want to be in my tiny corner. I want to be known for what I do. And then my YouTube channel, I want my channel to be somewhere where people come and are inspired. I want people to come to my channel and feel like, oh, that thing I was thinking of, I can do it. I want people to basically just chat out better lives. So become financially independent, plan better. Like I have a video where I talked about the one thing, you can't do everything. So just focus. I just want people to be able to be better, like live better lives and just be inspired to become best version of themselves because they watch my channel.
You are already inspirational. And
I'm trying, I hope so.
Yeah, no, this whole conversation has been absolutely amazing. And so inspirational, just everything you've done, and from like looking at a cell phone for the first time to like where you are now, like that's like it's incredible. And
thank you.
Thank you so much, Itohan, for that amazing conversation.
Thanks,
you are such an inspiration to me and to everyone else. If you're watching this, please go check out her channel. I'll put the link in the description below. She makes really great videos. She talked about a few of them in this video, but make sure to check out the rest of them down below. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this.
Having me. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, this was such a great conversation.
Really
I learned so much. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.